Turkey and Europe have just started trading humans. No, seriously. They're implementing a deal that's designed to limit the number of migrants and refugees smuggling themselves into Europe. Sound awful? Wait till you hear the details.
Okay, before I start ranting or anything, what is wrong with this bitch? I mean, like, look how fat she is. Seriously, haven't you ever heard of weight loss? I mean, you look like a hippo that incorporated a human's body.
Most refugees entering Europe have done so through Greece before moving north and seeking asylum in richer countries. Now that's stopped. Since March 20th, anyone who's been smuggled into Greece has been detained. They're locked up until their asylum case has been approved or rejected. And if it does get rejected, they'll be shipped off to Turkey. For each person sent back, Europe will take one of the 2.7 million Syrian refugees currently in Turkey. Not all of them, though. Only 72,000. Trading refugees. How enlightened.
Okay, first things first. A refugee is not going to choose between rich countries and Turkey. They're going to choose to go where they're safe. Why do they have to come all the way to Europe? Or in this case, Canada. Why do they have to go all the way there? They have everything they need. They are safe in Turkey or Lebanon or whatnot. But look, I'm really curious to see what you'll say next. So let's get to the bottom of this, shall we?
So why would Europe even do this? Well, the European Union says the number of people trying to enter its borders is a crisis. But let's put that in context. Even if the EU gives asylum to 1 million refugees, which it hasn't, that's still only 0.02% of its population. Meanwhile, refugees already make up 3.5% of Turkey's population, and Lebanon is hosting 1 million refugees despite a population of only 4 million. That's a crisis.
Okay, sorry to cut you off, but I just had to put in there. AJ Plus is basically based in the Arabian countries, am I correct? How many people are the Arabian countries taking in?
What's the status of those wealthier Middle Eastern countries, Natasha, when it comes to their support for Syrian refugees?
Well, it depends on who you ask, Suhana, but most who are following this crisis coming out of Syria say that their wealthier neighbors in and around the Gulf are not doing enough, and some are doing nothing at all. I want to break down some numbers for you in terms of 4 million refugees fleeing out of Syria. What you see here is that neighboring Turkey has taken almost 2 million, Egypt 133,000, even Iraq, which is dealing with its own crisis and problems with ISIS, has taken 250,000. But look at these wealthier states: Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Kuwait. 0 refugees taken into those nations, and they're getting considerable criticism.
New home in Europe, even though the long journey could prove to be fatal to many. Facing criticism, EU nations that haven't been actively engaged in the migrant crisis have fired back, pointing to the 6 Gulf countries, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain, who have offered 0 resettlement places to Syrian refugees. So, while these nations have accumulated immense wealth because of vast oil reserves, in real numbers, the combined GDP of the 6 Gulf states is about $2 trillion a year, with a combined population of just under 55 million. Experts note that if these states just contributed 5%, that's $100 billion, it wouldn't really have an effect on their standard of living, but it would go a long way in alleviating the migrant crisis.
A third of the Syrian people have been displaced within Syria, while over 4 million have fled the country. The vast majority of them reside now in camps in the neighboring countries, who are taking care of 95% of the refugees, while the Arab states of the Persian Gulf together have accepted 0 Syrian refugees, which has been called especially shameful by Amnesty International.
The Arab states of the Gulf, although they've pledged financial support to Syrian refugees, have accepted zero refugees from Syria.
None! Okay, now listen to me, Miss Fat Fuck. Why don't you go over there and tell them to accept these refugees, if you so want to call them?
So why is Turkey, where many refugees are already struggling to get decent work and find a dignified life, agreeing to take on Europe's burden?
Whoa. Europe's burden. Europe's burden. Why is it Europe's, or I'll put this way, why is it the West's burden? Why on earth doesn't someone else who's closer take their own people in? I mean, there's a big difference between us and them. Look, I need a glass of water. I'm getting too pissed off. Okay, I just absolutely hate it when she does that.
Money. Turkey has been asking the European Union to help it pay for the refugees that it hosts. From this deal, Turkey is getting $6.8 billion. But that's not all. Turkish citizens will be able to travel into Europe's Schengen zone without a visa later this year. And Turkey's ambition to join the EU gets a boost. Negotiations over that should restart in the next few months. Remember, these are people fleeing horrific war and persecution.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. If they're fleeing war, then they should either fight for their home, or here's one thing they can also do. They can go to the first country where they're safe. Now, in light of what you recently said, that they're unable to find decent work in Turkey, well then maybe you should start ranting to the Turkish government to give them everything they need. My God, SJWs just piss me off.
So with Europe paying to keep them away, can refugees catch a break?
Well, maybe they can stop trying to go somewhere where they don't have to. They can go nearby. My God, my God. Okay, never mind, I'm getting too pissed off. I best stop this thing right now. And that's it. That was a pretty short video, but it was pretty damn triggering. So let me know what you think. Should these refugees, or no, I call them migrants, come to Western countries, or do they have to stay in their own region?